Everyone's talking about AI, but who's actually implementing it? I'm Jenna Ahern, the CEO of Guardian Owl Digital, a search engine marketing firm rooted in integrity and transparency in the digital age. AI and marketing are at a crossroads, and the technology is moving faster than most business leaders can keep up with. That's why we created Go AI, a podcast series where we interview leaders in various industries about all things artificial intelligence. With each guest, my co-host Connor Rafferty and I will explore the applications that this rapidly evolving technology has for business leaders and their industries. Let's go AI. Welcome back to Go AI. We are so thrilled to introduce our next guest, Chris Brumley. He is the president and CEO of NiceFloors.com, a River City flooring company. Chris, we're so excited to have you here today.
Hey, thanks for having me here today. This is exciting.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and the company.
I'm 60 years old this year. I've been in the business for almost 40 years. And my father was a rep out of Dalton, Georgia. I was in college, chemistry, biology major. Like, why am I doing this? And my junior year, I started working a little bit with him. And midterm is like, I'm sick of this. I'm going to Sanibel Island. So I moved to Florida. Lived there for about 7 months. I had like 14 hours to finish college. And my dad said, hey, I got a territory open. Would you want to come to work? And it took me about 8 minutes to make that decision. I rented a U-Haul and I'm back in Louisville.
Yeah. All right, fine.
And so I became a rep on the road. I kind of followed his footsteps because he knew a lot of people in the industry. And, everybody say, hey, that's Chris's son. That's Jerry's son, So it kind of turned out really well. But then I got to the point where I was bored with it and I wanted to do my own thing. And so I became an agent out of Dalton, Georgia at 23 years old. I represented 10 different brands and had 3 salespeople working for me.
Wow. That's young.
And it was called Elegant Styles. And I lived in Indianapolis. And so it just kind of kept growing, But the industry was changing. Consolidation. Companies were buying up the little guys really fast if they had a proprietary item.
What year was this? What year were we
This
talking
is in early 91.
Okay.
Yeah, 91. So the manufacturers I was representing was great, but then I kept losing them because they got bought out by either Shaw or Mohawk because they were the 2 biggest companies growing at the time.
Heard of them.
And so I said this earlier, but I was a sales rep, looked good, smelled good, and broke. And it's like I didn't want to keep going down that road. And my wife and I, we want to start a family, so I kept hearing guys were making really good money installing hardwood. So I was like, gosh, could I do that? So I went and bought a set of tools and went around to all the dealers in Louisville, and they said, oh, poor Chris, bless his heart. He has to install now. He's given up his sales rep job. He's going to be installing. And I'm thinking, I'm making 5 times more money I ever made as a sales rep.
Little do you know.
Yeah. So they all felt sorry for me, and boom. I had calls every week because, we would show up. We show up. We're sober.
Trust you.
We're trustworthy. We're got some passion about what I'm doing. And so within 18 months, I had 9 crews working. And we were just killing it. It was just nonstop 7 days a week because this is when the building boom was going on too. This is in 97 through 2007. Money was flowing. People were getting 3-year ARM loans like crazy. And
Pre the housing collapse.
Yeah, right. Housing collapse. And so we had all these guys working, and all of a sudden my pipeline became empty. And it was 2007, September. I'll never forget it. I looked down and going, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? It just so happened I had another business going. We started in 2003 called playersgifts.com. And this is really crazy. I'm going to go down that rabbit hole. But we built a program. There's a guy named Chris Bailey. I think he's back in Louisville now. A wonderful programmer, self-taught. He writes in every language. Amazing guy. We wrote a program that we were a third-party points program for online casinos. And all these casinos were based in South Africa, England, all over the world. And they had, all these domain names in America. Americans were in their basements, losing everything they had, playing poker or playing slots on their
I'm sure
PC.
some listeners are relating.
Oh, I guarantee you they are. A lot of wives are relating to their husbands doing this. But
absolutely.
Texas Hold'em. But so this business took off like crazy. It was just amazing how fast it grew. We're only the one in that space at all.
All online.
All online.
Wow.
And if you would go on the internet or whatever website, casino website, and let's say you lost $500 that night, our system would send you an email and it says, hey, Jenna, sorry you had a bad luck last night. Here's 25 gifts to choose from. And so it turned an intangible world into a tangible world, because now you can get a 4-slice toaster that costs you $500. But it was just a really cool concept. So that's where I learned programming and learned internet. And it's like, oh, wow. That came to a quick end because the United States government shut it down. They put the pressure on the banks. Chase Bank could no longer do a credit card transaction between an offshore casino and a U.S. citizen.
So wait, 2009, 2010?
This was 2008.
8,
yeah,
okay.
When the height of the recession. So I thought at one time we're just going to move into that space, because it pays well,
Yeah.
I'm not bleeding and sweating and crawling around on the floor, praying to the flooring
I can do
gods.
it from anywhere.
That door closed, and just happened to know someone that had a business coach. And I reached out to him, Ralph White, out in Southern California. He started asking me questions, and he really pretty much told me that you don't have a lot of choices. You need to open up a store, because none of the builders actually promoted us at all. They just kept us to their own,
Sure.
at their beck and call.
Yeah.
So we opened up a store in 97, and I'm sorry, the store was 2008, and we did $1 million the first year in sales.
In Louisville.
Yeah, and why a lot of people were exiting that space, getting out of the business because they were so heavily builder-oriented, their world was collapsing as well.
Like new builds.
Yes.
Okay.
So here we are betting that people are going to start remodeling their house. They can't get a loan. The money's not there. So they're just going to settle for what they got and make it better and get ready for the next housing boom, because it's just cyclical. It's going to happen again. So here we are all these years later, we're faced the exact same thing again.
Wow.
But a lot more high tech than ever compared to 2008. And we got a lot of variables out there: interest rates, inflation. So we're going to find out how this is going to play out.
Well, and it sounds like you were on the cusp of it, from an innovation standpoint in the internet before a lot of people were. And then you entered the flooring business, clearly successful. First year, 7 figures in revenue. You're still crushing it. It's 2024. And now you have NiceFloors.com that ships flooring all over the country.
Yes. And so we had 65 domain names. And I went to Blackstone Media and said, listen, I don't have a lot of money. I don't know what this is going to cost. They couldn't give me a price. It's like I'm going to go to a builder and say, hey, build me a house.
Yeah.
Well, how much money do you want to spend? Well, I'm not sure. What's it going to cost? So they looked through the list and came down and said, hey, we like NiceFloors. And I said, really? I said, there's a lot of good domain names, discount floors and discount that and buy here, that. And so they said, no, NiceFloors needs to be the one. So I told them, I said, okay, listen, how about we pay as we go, because it's kind of open end, Yeah. He kind of gave me an idea, about scared me to death, but I thought I knew we have to start off with a good website and not a out of the box, off the shelf website. So he started building it, and our business kept growing. So I'm on top of him going, hey, I got the money. Where are you at? Well, we're not done yet. We're going slow. You told me to go slow. I said, we're ready, So a year later, we launched, and back to the players' gifts. That's kind of really got me started in the internet business. Now can I sell flooring online? That space was occupied, but not very well with high tech, websites. Most of the websites out there are off the shelf, or the owner of the store, his 17-year-old son's building the website in the basement.
Sure.
We launched it, and I'll never forget this. The first order we got was in New York, and I lost $400 because I didn't figure the shipping right. Because we're taking a semi, going to go into somebody's neighborhood, you're going to drop it in the front of the driveway, and it wasn't a big order, but I lost $400. I thought, man, I guess I need to get a bigger truck.
Yeah.
Well, the Amazon theory, they lost billions of dollars for years, and then they became very wealthy of that. But
I've heard of them.
Yeah, I've heard of them, yeah. Exactly. The second order is the next day. Now, this is the third day after we launched.
This is wild.
Okay.
So like New York, number one.
Yes.
I mean, that would have been
And then
wild.
we got a call from Dallas, Texas. A guy needed $13,000 worth of Johnson hardwood floors. Johnson is a brand, hardwood flooring brand. And we gave him a price. He said, that's great. How do I pay? And took his credit card. As soon as I hung up the phone, I'm doing this little Kentucky jig up there in the phone, dance, going, this sucker's going to work,
This is awesome.
And it's just crazy. And so then the fourth day, I get a call from a guy from Mannington in upper management. And I've known him
Which Mannington is a flooring brand.
Mannington is a brand and USA owned. And I've known this guy for a long time. And he called me and said, hey, Chris, what are you doing? I said, hey, not how are you doing, Chris, but what are you doing? I said, what are you talking about? He said, you can't put those prices on the internet. I said, what are you talking about? He said, your website. I said, how'd you see it? He said, you're number one when you Google our products. And this is early.
On Google,
This is
yes.
before, right after Penguin, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
Maybe it's before. I think it's before Penguin.
You were showing up before the manufacturer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, big time. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, we have a minimum advertised price. You'll disrupt our entire distribution network if you're showing prices below what you're supposed to sell it at. So I said, man, Mark, I'm sorry. I said, we'll get that corrected. And like, oh my gosh, how do we correct the price? And we haven't been in the back end. We just got the whole website turned over to us.
Sure.
Now I need to change 900 products on the fly.
Yeah.
So we finally figured out that manufacturers have a minimum advertised price to protect the smaller dealers. And today really is to protect the smaller dealers that doesn't have the technology, that doesn't have the buying power. They need to make a bigger margin because they're doing less business. So we're abiding by that. We've had manufacturers say, hey, can you take our product off a website? Said, sure. I don't want to cause any disruptions because in the flooring industry, it's like any industry. It's really tight knit.
Sure.
One guy told me a long time ago when I was a rep, he said, don't ever make enemies because you don't know who you're going to say hi boss to in 2 years from now.
Don't burn bridges.
Don't burn any bridges.
That's great wisdom.
We're playing a very legitimate game with selling flooring online. And I think the biggest advantage that we have is the selection that we have online and all the name brands. When we tell this to our manufacturers all the time, we say, Mr. Manufacturer, you have a great product, but the retail price is unaffordable to most of the people in that market. They love your colors. They're paying for innovation, paying for the up-to-date colors, but their budget doesn't afford it. I said, so you're not going to get that order. They're going to find another brand at a lesser price, and they're going to settle for.
That looks similar.
That's similar.
Okay.
Quality probably won't be there, but so the manufacturers are, they're kind of agreeing with us, so we're going to offer them a price that they can afford, and then the manufacturer still gets that order. So it's kind of plausible deniability. They say, well, Chris is, they pay their bills, they're a good company, and we didn't know that they were doing that. They knew. Every one of them knows.
Well, but you had to buy in bulk, I would assume, to get.
We're buying containers, truckloads,
Yeah, so you have the inventory.
I don't gamble. I got one color, I got 19,000 feet in stock.
Yeah.
I don't gamble at all. Yes, I gamble every day because I got my own business. Every day is a gamble. Every day I wake up. But you have to have that to be effective in the marketplace. You have to be able to ship quickly, And so the other thing is websites. Make sure it's fast, it's up to date. We have a product called Roomvo out of Canada. I met Paul, the owner, several years ago. I was kind of an influencer for him for years.
In the industry.
In the industry, yeah. So you can actually take your cell phone, go to our website, take a picture of the floor, pick out the floor color that you like, and voila, it shows up on that picture on your phone on the floor in that picture. And it's amazing technology.
That's a great segue for just AI in this conversation because obviously you're an innovator with the internet. Now, like you said, we're kind of entering what some may say feels like a recession. And now you have a lot of industries at this crossroads of AI being implemented. So you've already been using, to me, I guess, advanced technology within your space. How do you think AI, either right now or in the future, is going to disrupt the flooring business?
I see a huge gap in the industry is going to happen.
Really?
I think, number one, the average flooring store owner is 64. Okay. They're not high tech. They're not going to turn high tech.
They're not like you.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. And the customer has a level of technology acceptance. They won't accept technology that's below their level. They want to be excited. Everybody wants it fast, quick, easy. Like a drive-through flooring store, Yeah. You can deliver this tomorrow, right? Prime.
Exactly. That's the expectation.
Definitely. And so the technology, we're finding out that if we're not present and meeting the customer's expectation right at that point, then we probably won't get the business. And that's where most people in any business is going to fail if they don't hold on tight and embrace this new technology. I feel that this new recession is going to be different because of the cash flow, people's home cash flows. Personal cash flows are going to be different or affected by inflation. Look what COVID did for AI.
Oh my gosh.
It advanced us probably at minimum 5 years.
At minimum.
Minimum, maybe even 10. And so here we are, we're talking about our website. A retail store is now almost secondary because we see a much bigger growth potential online. It's pretty exciting. It's a little nervous. The nice thing about AI is it is available for business owners like myself. And it's not exclusive to the top guys in Wall Street,
Okay.
the top businesses.
But this is a great point that you bring up because, again, I think our listeners, a lot of them may not be a practitioner like you are. You are 60 years old, have a family, successful entrepreneur, own your own business. You are using AI, and not just in your business, but you are literally using it in your daily life. So what we hear a lot is it's intimidating or maybe an excuse. I don't want to spend the time. Do you feel like it's very important for business owners, execs, your age, at your level, to be paying attention?
Oh my gosh. If you want to continue to grow your business, you have to. You have to get over the fear of the unknown. You need to go attack it. Another thing that's going to affect us, here we have this emergence of AI, blockchain, distributed ledger technology, and it's going to absolutely change things faster than we've ever seen in humanity. It's like the Wright brothers. It's like Henry Ford. It's going to be as big as the car, as big, if not bigger. And then, I'm with my chemistry, biology, mainly chemistry, I get fusion reports daily. And the fusion is amazing technology. Free energy. You're going to have a little nuclear reactor in the front yard, and that will actually charge your electric car. The electric grid right now won't do it, but yeah, it's just going to be a little box, and it's just amazing technology that they're finding out. And that's probably 20 years' time. It's going to make wind and solar look like archaic. So that's really exciting. But back to, flooring is how can we get to the consumer? How can we learn their patterns? Because the great thing about AI is, the algorithms, you're doing heat mapping your websites. What are they looking for? I learned a lot of that in the casino business. Those guys knew what color to put on, what music to play, what volume to play the music, because they were heat mapping and doing everything. Wouldn't surprise me at all if they were doing pupil or eye tracing. What are they looking at next? Because there's a word. What's the name of that word where you are predicting where you're going to go?
Predictive analytics is what I was thinking of.
Yeah, there's another word for it. I can't think of it. But anyway, I got a really funny story. You've all heard Ernst & Young. They are a big accounting firm, marketing company in Chicago.
I've heard of them too.
They came and interviewed us on behalf of Shaw Industries, and they had a whole platform that they wanted to introduce to us about CRM, about all the different types of digital advertising. They're wanting to see what Shaw could do to help grow our business, which is great. They're kind of going out to different dealers and saying, hey, look, we're interested in helping you grow. And what can we do to help? And we got these different things. Everything they had, we had. And the girl, she said,
wait, when was this?
This was back in the fall.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's like, I can't believe this.
Well, that to your point about just the industry as a whole, like if the average owner 64 and not tech savvy, and here you are, like, oh yeah, we already implemented.
So back to when we first launched the website, that's why we were on the front page immediately, because the other websites were poor. They weren't written properly, and they didn't know about all these little secrets, that's in the back end that you need to do, like schema. What's schema? It's a fruit. It's a Mediterranean fruit.
I'm loving it.
So
schema for our listeners, from an SEO perspective, to Chris's point, helps mark up certain aspects of your website, like in telling search engines, hey, this is a picture. Hey, this is a product. Hey, this is an article. It allows the crawlers to read the site faster, therefore higher rankings.
And Google likes you if you have that, because they spend less money trying to search your site. So all these things, help us grow the business. And we're really looking at focusing more and more on all these great features and products that are out there that help us grow. And I also see manufacturers are going to have to take the same role as we are in going directly to the public to get rid of that third party. They have to take control. They can't let the little dealer in Iowa say, I'm not going to buy from you because I didn't like the last truck driver.
Yeah.
You can't have that. You got to be able to sell directly to the public, And so I see some major changes happening in the industry, but not just this industry, it's every industry, to simplify transportation, distribution, and back to the blockchain. I mean, that's going to change everything. Right now, we have 50% of societies working, 50% of the population of the United States working. There's predictions that within 20 years, only 30% will be working because of AI will be taking those positions. What if the IRS got with Constellation DAG or Stellar Lumens? These are all different companies that are in blockchain that says, hey, we're going to put a smart contract on here, and this is how you're going to do all your taxes.
Yeah.
Where's all the accountants? You got, I don't know how many thousands of pages of tax code you got to read to know where all the benefits are, the loopholes. All that's going to go away. Banking's going to be changed overnight. NASDAQ already has their digital wallet ready to be launched. Chase has got their Onyx program.
To go back to your point then, embrace it, attack
Yeah.
the fear. I mean, are you knowing all of this maybe 10, 20 years out? I mean, are you scared of that and what that looks like?
Not at all. I kind of play the middle. When I turned the news off and quit watching both sides of the commentary, it gave me a clearer picture because a lot of this is a diversion.
Yeah, let me see what I think.
Yeah.
now.
Look over here because we're doing this over here. Don't look over here. Stay over here. Stay mad.
Yeah.
Stay upset. But the distributed ledger or blockchain is definitely going to change our business. And in fact, I've already investigated. Venmo has a great program for cryptocurrency acceptance.
Really?
Yeah. I was really surprised.
Venmo.
Yeah, I've been looking at Coinbase. And so we're probably this fall, I feel really, really strongly that we'll accept Bitcoin and different tokens because everything's going to be tokenized. I mean, tokenization, look it up. Oh my goodness. BlackRock is all over it. Everything's going to be tokenized. And how do you tokenize that? Well, you digitize assets, just like they digitize music or this video we're doing, the sound that we're doing, everything's digitized, So when you get Venmo, that was digitized, but now we're going to put everything is going to be tokened and have a value. It's going to make the internet and everything work even better and faster. Back to your comment about, do I like that idea of blockchain? If you're a bad guy, you're probably not going to like blockchain because they can trace everything. Yep. If you got something to hide, then it's probably not going to be good for you. Even the guys who cut grass on the weekends to make that extra money for put in their pocket, that's probably going to go away too.
Yeah.
But then with all that happening, then we'll probably just be on a flat tax. The more you consume, the more tax you pay, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
You gave us a specific example earlier about sort of like a computer vision type of AI, where you can take a photo of a floor and it can kind of directly connect you to what you're looking at on a site. Would you be able to give us more specific applications and examples of AI within the flooring industry that are really exciting you?
Yeah, that was the newest one, and that took a long time for people to adapt. I mean, we were jumping all over it. I was doing backflips when I was about helping Roomvo. Yeah, it helps that customer make the decision faster. Because they're getting opinions. Hey, I haven't done this before. We want to update our colors. What's popular? I don't want to be left behind in the fashion world. Yeah. So it kind of gives them that. We all have it in the flooring business. Our mind's eye is full of floors. But that customer, it's the first time they ever bought a floor. They don't have any library to go back to in their head, So this gives them that visual right away in their own house. And, the paint companies are doing it with wall paints, which I think is awesome. And we're also doing a sample program. So people can kind of do the Roomvo in their house and say, hey, that color looks good. They can go back to our inventory on our website and pick out the colors that's similar, and we can ship those samples to them at a very low cost. That way, it kind of helps them feel and touch the product.
It's kind of like meeting them where they are. So now you have this technology that they can see it. Hey, I like a couple. Give me some samples. Ship me some samples. We'll put the cost towards a new floor for you.
Yeah. And people still want to touch the product.
Yeah.
I've never had Instacart bring me up any ribeyes yet. Probably never will. But
fair.
I want to go look at that, and buy it from the meat counter, But that fear of purchasing online is really, that blows me away because people, they don't have that fear anymore. We do a credit card. We accept credit cards. We do ACH, where they give us their banking account information, and we do a one-time draft that curtails or eliminates the credit card fee.
And that's for AI, and implementing it. Like to Connor's point, you were just talking about implementing in the fall, like Bitcoin and so blockchain. You feel like from a intelligence standpoint, that's something that's going to disrupt obviously every industry, but you're ahead of the curve.
The conversations we have at our office is very unique. People aren't having these conversations, just like schema or like blockchain. Like they're not having these conversations, and we see it as a huge advantage for us to learn that. I think it's going to be commonplace. But the cool thing about some AI, the customer has no idea. They shouldn't think that, oh, I'm being manipulated by this computer, or they're showing me something now that I thought about. That's when it's going to be really fun. Is, honey, what do you think? And all of a sudden, it pops up on your phone.
Oh, yeah.
That's the colors.
Read your mind. Yeah. You should go with this one.
Yeah, for sure. And, with Apple's new Vision Pro, I tested that a couple weeks ago. My neighbor has one. And he set me in a chair similar to this one, and he moved all the end tables and the lamps. And he moved everything out of the way so I wouldn't break anything.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But and I talked to Roomvo. I said, hey, are you going to have something like this for, it's called Vision Pro, isn't it?
I was thinking virtual reality,
Well,
but yeah, Vision Pro.
$4,000
I'm
goggles.
thinking Oculus, but yeah.
Yeah. So you can walk through your house and just, honey, what do you think about this color? And click it, and then you sit, and you're walking in your rooms, seeing the floors before you buy them. I mean, that's right around the corner. And he actually replied to my email. He said, Chris, I've got something much better than that.
So you're excited about that, and then they're already working on the next thing.
Oh, definitely. Now, the one thing about our industry, too, we started coming out with snap together floors. Okay. Everybody wants a waterproof vinyl plank that's hard to scratch, spills doesn't hurt it. It's great for kids and dogs. And us all snap together, floating floors. So when this started 9 years ago, it opened up the world of possibilities for us to sell to remodelers, builders, installers, homeowners, because they can put it down.
They can install themselves almost.
They can install themselves. In most cases, they do. Or they get their friends over. Everybody's got their YouTubes out on their phone. Yeah. This guy said do it this way. This guy said do it this way. But they together they can save a lot of money on labor putting that floor in themselves. And so because of that, it's kind of like how many blind stores are there right now that sells mini blinds? Everything's done online. You give them the estimates, or you show you actually take a picture now, and they'll measure it for you automatically. And you put it in yourself.
I don't need to go in.
No, They don't need to go to the store, and they'll send samples to you. So that's where it's going in the flooring business, big time. Back real quick about my coach. I've been talking to him since 2008, twice a month. And he's a possibilities guy. And that's his business, is unlimited possibilities. And he has taught me that if you're not open to receive the possibilities that are present, they'll fly right past you. And it's all about attitude. If you have a negative attitude and you're kicking the can and you're blaming everybody except for yourself, those possibilities are going to go right over your head because they're not attracted to you. So I'm not in this, I'm studying vibrations and all these crazy things you see on TikTok. I'm grounding now, take my, go outside and ground.
I'm with you. I'm on the same wavelength. But I agree, like the frequency, but I think a lot of our listeners and a lot of the business owners that we come in contact with, they are still in this phase of I'm demonizing social media. Does this work? And we are sitting over here thinking, oh my gosh, if you are not open to receiving that, imagine what's coming down the pipe.
My wife
with
and I,
AI.
we went to at a deli last night and we're eating, and I had my phone.
Local deli?
Yeah,
Morris?
local deli here.
Oh, okay.
Here in Louisville.
I was going to do a shout out.
Yeah, that's right, for Jason's Deli. But
nice, okay.
Yeah, Jason's Deli, and that's one of our go-to places. And I'm sitting there and we're talking, and I got our phones out, and I just kind of stopped for a minute and I looked around. This is like 6:30, 6:45. Place is getting busy, and all the couples, there's not a lot of conversation, but everybody had their phone out, and so that's where everybody's at. So where do I want to advertise? Do I want to advertise on a billboard that somebody might look up and see it? No. They're too busy looking at their phone driving. They're not going to look at that billboard. They're going to look at their phone going, while they're driving. So it's sad, but it's true.
It hurts sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's where we're all going, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook,
exactly.
YouTube. I mean, that's the new media.
It's an attention economy.
When we started in 2008, I was spending $1,500 a month for $1,500 a month for 3 ads in the phone book, because Louisville had 3 phone books. And I had a half a page ad, and they all got phone book people all got together and said, "What's a half a page ad called? Let's charge them $500, $1,500 a month to be on the yellow pages." Now I don't even get them. And when we got them the last several years ago, we went right to the recycling bin, because it's obsolete.
No,
the minute they print it, it's no longer valid. It doesn't give me reviews. It doesn't give me videos. It's just like a etched tablet that's made out of stone.
When I love like fax numbers, I'm like, who is faxing?
Oh
stuff?
Yeah. I bought a fax machine in 1997. It would do, I think, 500 phone numbers. And so every Friday afternoon, I would get a fax number from a builder or a remodeler, and I'd make my content and I put it in there and fax it to 500 faxes every Friday. And I had some controversial stuff back then. It's 5 top reasons to call River City. I can't say some of those, but it said, show up to work sober. We won't leave an old spot in your driveway. No tattoos.
It's funny.
Tattoos
got
are cool
their attention.
Yeah. And so, but inevitably on Monday I get a call. Yeah, I need to talk to you. Bubba didn't show up. And so,
their pain point.
Yeah, here's this guy sending this fax out. Who is this installer sending faxes?
Yeah.
So I've always been intrigued with technology. I think I bought my first 286 computer from Sears and Roebuck for $4,200. This was in 87, 86.
Wow.
maybe somewhere around there. Big old green screen, 40 meg hard drive. I mean, that doesn't even hold a program that's on my Samsung
Well, that's what and it was
watch.
so big. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's an anchor. I wish I kept it for Smithsonian. But the flooring industry is exciting when you make it exciting. It's not.
And you're open to possibilities.
And you're open to possibilities and providing a service to a customer that their level of expectation in the tech world is being matched.
Again, I think a lot of our listeners are leaders, whether it's at their company or they're leading a company. What would be your words of wisdom when it comes to learning AI or being open to possibilities within your business with this technology?
Well, complacency will kill you. We've done this for years.
I've heard that before. This is the way we've always done it.
This is the way we always done it, and you can't, when you're hiring that younger person that's in a different generation, listen to them.
Yeah.
My daughter who's 30, she's taught me a lot. She's got her own business.
She's a rock star.
She's never had a job. And I thought she had to have a store with products on the shelf and, do your Yellow Page ads. That's
how you started.
That's what we do in business. And
so what was her journey? Because I know this and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so she's went to Western Kentucky University and she is a journalism major. She hated journalism. She's a great photographer, but she's an unbelievable artist. So she's in Chicago right now with 23 photo shoots in the cosplay world. And so she's got a following like crazy people.
Because she advertised on using technology.
I saw technology. Her card now has her name and a QR code.
Awesome.
That's it. It goes right to her website, AlexanderLeeStudios.com. And she does cosplay art. She'll take a picture of someone and build, the whole background, whatever the theme of the costume is or the character. And she has new software now where it's got AI. You actually say, get rid of the gray brick background, and it gets rid of it. And I told her, I said, you know what this means? She said, yeah, I got to up my game. Because she would spend hours editing. And now she just sits there and talks to it and does it. And she's like, oh my gosh, a novice can do what she's doing to a certain point,
Sure.
But
so you still need the human element, but she recognizes.
Yes.
Okay.
The human element. And that's back to NiceFloors. That's where we win is we're asking customers questions that they might be in Seattle, Washington, and they're calling. And we're asking questions. Is this on concrete? Do you have a basement? What's the terrain? Are you at the bottom of the valley or at the top of the hill because moisture content of the ground? So we're asking good questions to make sure they're buying the right product for their application. As soon as we start asking these questions, we're saying, hey, these people know what they're talking about.
And that's that human element.
That's that human element that I don't even know how to type in a question. Have you ever been on Google search like, how do I ask this so I can get the fastest results?
Yeah.
And then you start typing and say, oh, good, somebody else asked it the same way because it automatically generates.
They were thinking that.
Yeah. And so that's where with our estimating, doing our estimates for people, we're trying to streamline that where it's all automated so we can spend more time introducing the human element to the technology world. I can get you a price real quick, but let's talk about your situation because they don't know how to Google that question. How do you know you're supposed to Google what type of subfloor I'm on? You don't know that.
And so would that be one thing that you are confident AI may not replace, like that type of human
interaction? It's going to take a lot.
Okay.
I don't think there's any software companies in Silicon Valley saying, hey, we need to write an AI program to mimic a floor covering guy.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
No.
But they're learning machines. They get enough information, they'll be able to spit it back out. But people still want to deal with people. I just had a guy from Bowling Green. He filled out a form. He needs 60,000 feet of flooring.
It's a nice little order.
Yeah, nice little order. So what I did? I called him up and said, hey, I'm going to be in Bowling Green on Friday. I wasn't going to be in Bowling Green on Friday. He said, great, come see me. I said, I will. So I drove to Bowling Green.
Oh
I gave
my gosh.
him a NiceFloors cup, gave him a NiceFloors pen and a mouse pad. And we started talking and we had everything he needed. We answered great questions. And 2 weeks later, get a $125,000 order.
You can't replace that human interaction.
And it's shaking his hand, looking eye to eye, and answering the questions.
You're authentic and real.
You have to. That will grow your business as long as you implement the technology with it. We can't just have a machine taking orders. It's not going to happen. The only company I know that's, Amazon, it's very hard to talk to somebody there. They've done a wonderful job, but he spent billions of dollars to get to that point.
Have you heard of Google?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, talk to somebody at Google. That's right.
Yeah. Well, Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show. What's one last thing you want to leave the audience with just before
Yeah, as far as the technology or AI, just embrace it.
Embrace it.
Please be careful where you're getting your sources of information.
Where would you get your source?
That's one of the hardest problems.
Okay.
Is you got to do some due diligence and research. Yeah, because the right has a spin, the left has a spin. Go the middle road. It's not going to hurt.
Yeah.
Because bad people aren't producing all this.
You're right.
They're making it easier for us to live.
It's fair. So where can people find you? Obviously, NiceFloors.com, but if they want to get in touch with you.
You can contact our office. I'm always around. You can contact me at chris@NiceFloors.com.
Chris@NiceFloors.com and www.nicefloors.com. Chris, we're excited that you came to the show.
Thanks. This is exciting.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for listening to Go AI. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and review our podcast so we can continue to grow and offer more great AI content. If you're looking for digital marketing, digital transformation, or AI help, make sure you visit www.guardianowdigital.com. Have questions? Email team@guardianowdigital.com for answers. See you next time on Go AI.